The following is a Stars and Strikes doubles rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable recent programs.
WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Stars and Strikes doubles. From the Londonderry Bowling Center, Stars and Strikes doubles features the best Candlepin bowlers from around New England in team competition. Stars and Strikes doubles is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to Stars and Strikes doubles here on the Winds. Glad you could join us for another weekend here. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy from the Londonderry Bowling Center. This is week 2, and as we begin, we have a team coming back made up of a couple of guys, Dan, who'd never been on television until last week, and yet they won a very, very tight match, and now they're going to try and make it 2 in a row.
This is one of those sports that you go from a rookie to a veteran in a matter of a week, and that's what happened to these two guys. They impressive win last week. No strikes at all in the match, but they were able to pick their spares up in at a close match, and now they take on a veteran and another newcomer.
All right, let's meet our two teams. First of all, the returning champions from last week, our number 5 seeded team, looking for their second win in a row from Somersworth, New Hampshire, Tom Farrell, and his partner from Manchester, New Hampshire, is Bob Johnson.
Okay, Tom comes in averaging 116. The roll-off score was 661. And Bob Johnson at 119 and 660.
And last week, if you missed it, a terrific close match all the way through the entire 3 games. Tom and Bob finally prevailing 331 to 326 over John Maffeo and Randy Jarvis. So now they try for 2 in a row against our number 3 seeded team from Waltham, Massachusetts, Mike Fish, and his partner from Bow, New Hampshire, Dan Brodeur.
Okay, and Mike Fish comes in averaging 122, roll-off score getting up there now at 674. Dan Brodeur at 120 and 670.
All right, of course, prize money at stake and a spot in the semifinals at stake for the winning team on this week's program. We will come back and tell you more about that and also remind you a little bit about the 2 teams that have already qualified for our Tournament of Champions in the spring. Lots to talk about. We will get to it. The first of our 3 strings right after these messages. Don't go away. Five teams in our series here on Stars and Strikes doubles. Last week in week 1, Tom Farrell and Bob Johnson knocking off John Maffeo and Randy Jarvis, our number 4 seeded team. So it's the number 3 seeds coming in to challenge them today, Mike Fish and Dan Brodeur. The winners of this match today will come back next week for our semifinal match against the number 2 seeded team, Gene Gates and John Potorsky. And 2 weeks from today, which just happens to be Christmas Day, we will have our championship match. Our number 1 seeded team of Stan Mayo and Scott Richardson will face the remaining team left. So we are down to our final 4 teams now of the 5 we started with. And after coming on as rookies a week ago, as you said, Dan, now the team of Tom Farrell and Bob Johnston looking to make it 2 weeks in a row and 2 wins in a row as well. And Tom will start this match off.
He's going to start with the head pin anyways, and looks like the 7 and 9. Piece of wood rolling out. And Cindy will take a trip down the lane.
Cindy Sissom keeping our big scoreboard for us and taking care of the pin decks as well. Cindy with her own fan club here at the Londonderry Bowling Center.
She's under a lot of pressure because last week she threw a pin down and knocked one of the pins down. This week she threw it and didn't even clear the all the way into the pit. She's in a little slump.
Tom will take the 10 box.
Much like they started last week. I think they started with 4 consecutive 10 boxes last week. Make it 3 consecutive 10 boxes.
Tom with a re-rack.
1 re-rack and 2 timeouts during the match.
That's right. Tom now on lane 29 with a good-looking first ball for a strike.
And that is their first strike in 2 weeks. Didn't have a strike at all last week in the win, but this week, second box, they put one up. We'll take a look at the veteran of the group, I should say. Been with us many, many times.
Dan Brodeur off target with number 1. Dan's last time with us was a little over a year ago. Here on doubles, he was paired with Mike Poulin. They won a match before being beaten by Bob Whitcomb and Jack Sanick.
And he pulled that one to the left. Look at the 4 horsemen and the 5 pin. Ooh.
No. Well, Dan will try and shake that off and try once again. And does shake it off with a 9-pin drop.
Almost shook them all off. Everything but the 6 pin.
And the spare for Dan Brodeur. Now it's Bob Johnston.
And he, of course, will fill the strike. Put up on the board by his partner, Tom Farrell. Ooh.
Oh, my. Oh, fortunately, this is a strike fill.
Really just completely reared up at the point of release. Stood right up straight. Pull that ball to the left, so it's only a 5 fill on the strike.
And a 7 for Bob. 2 teams have already qualified for the Tri-State Megabucks Doubles Tournament of Champions to be held in the spring, our 3rd annual event. Bob Kelly and Larry Valcourt a couple of weeks ago qualified with a 381. Prior to that, it was Ed Jerolman and Brian Fuller. Ed and Brian qualified with a 430. And they also ran the table.
That's
with
right.
4 consecutive wins.
Oh, very well as a team.
Now our first look at Mike Fish.
And his first ball with us will be a fill ball on the spare put up by his partner, Dan Brodeur.
And it's a good-looking one, too. He'll shoot at a spare.
Not an easy one, though. 4-7. Kind of a roadblock out in front, although it's moving now to the right. He's going to have a clear shot at the 4-7. Maybe.
Has to be patient with this wood. Both pieces are moving.
Might be in a position to help him now if he were to miss a little to the right, but I'm sure he's going to try to get by the wood. Nope.
Oh,
Shook his head. I think he tried to get by it and left the ball out to the right. 4-pin went around the 7. They'll have the early lead, though. Oh, will they? Let's see here. Yes.
by a pin, yes. Mike with a 674 roll-off score. His partner Dan Brodeur had a 670. Might have noticed Dan Brodeur with the same roll-off score as John Maffeo, who was here last week. The tiebreaker, of course, the high game in the roll-off. Dan and John were tied with for sixth place. Dan Brodeur had a 156 high game. John was a 155. So by virtue of that, John was on the 4th-seeded team, and Dan was able to come in here as part of the 3rd-seeded team. Mike's trying to wave that wood away, and he finally got it out of there.
He's doing a lot of directing up there. The first 2 boxes on Stars and Strikes doubles, 5 and 8. Nope.
Everybody wants to direct, Dan.
I know.
You know. And a 9. So now 2 pins the difference for Fish and Brodeur as we've completed 1 rotation. Back around to Tom Farrell. Tom spins one right into the head pin, a little bit high though, and the result is that.
And that being the 4-7-6-10. Piece of wood in front of each of the pairs of pins.
Might be able to catch both pieces of wood.
I don't know. I think the ball might fit through there.
Yeah?
I'd go at the 10 pin. No, he was listening to you. Now, see, if he had listened to me, he'd probably end up with a 6 box. Let's see. No, we'll never know. Works it out for a 10, though, 50 through 5.
Of course, that goes to what we've discussed many times before, which is that the distances can seem to be closer than they actually are. Indeed, the pins themselves are farther apart than they actually look, as evidenced by that shot. Second time we've seen that pin picked out of there, and now the half Worcester chopped out.
Oh my. Gotta go for the head pin here, see if you can get 5 or 6 pins. No.
It's a 5 box. Second one we've seen already. One for each team. And now Dan Brodeur from Bow, New Hampshire. Dan and his wife Marlene. Marlene's been on the show also previously. Dan works as an industrial maintenance electrician for Concord Litho Company. And he shakes him up for an 8 drop.
Last pin to go down was the 10, which is a good break. Good ball going in there. At first he was looking at the 5, 9, 10. Now just a 5 and a 9.
And for the spare.
Now he's looking at nothing.
Dan Brodeur with Mike Fish, the red team this week on Stars and Strikes doubles. Tom Farrell and Bob Johnson, the blue team, and there's a half Worcester. That was kind of a slow half Worcester too, wasn't it? You could hear each pin go out. Oh my.
Well, he went for them all, went in the inside. Now
couldn't hear anything that time.
No. Now he'll try to just get 7 or 8 and get out of town for right now. And it's going to be 5 for them, so.
Wow, 6 boxes into the match, we've seen 3 5s already. It's a defensive struggle.
It'll come down to those field goal kickers.
Bob Johnston. Don't forget, tomorrow from Park Place Lanes at noon here on the Winds, week 2 of our singles competition. Number 5 seed Dennis Shute, coming off a 400 effort a week ago, will try for his 2nd straight win. He will face a guy with an incredible winning streak going on Stars and Strikes, Peter Flynn.
1-3-10 left. That looks pretty good, and it is. Spare in the 8th. Their second mark. Now got 1 spare and 1 strike. You see the replay. And now Dan Brodeur, no, I'm sorry. Mike Fish is up for the 7th and 8th frames. Trying to protect the 4-pin advantage. Diamond, 3, 5, 6, and 9.
I don't think Peter Flynn has lost a match here on the Winds since we used to have pin boys and pin girls on the show, resetting the pin. Not quite for Mike. And the 10, increasing the lead to 6, but now opposite that spare in the 8th. Mike Fish from Waltham, Mass., self-employed. And he'll have a spare leave.
The 5 and 9.
No, off target.
He's had a few chances in this first game. 2 or 3 2-pinners. He's gone by the object pin.
10 box for Mike. And as Tom Farrell comes up, he'll have a chance to give his team the lead back. Anything more than 6 will do it. And that's more than 6. Leaving just the 8-pin. For the spare. 2 in a row for the team of Farrell and Johnston. The scores were not large last week when Tom and Bob won their match. But they were able to get marks when they needed them. And a possible third one in a row coming here is the 9 drop.
They're not only going to take the lead, they're going to put it so, whoops.
That one just plain slipped out of Tom's hand. Or it looked like he might have held on to it a little too long, actually.
I guess the crowd let us know how that ball went.
Well, Tom will take some grief for that ball, I think, later. Just plain flew out of his hand. Dan Brodeur now. Oh, big ball for Dan. Strike in the 9th. They needed that, Dan.
Crosses over in the 1-2 pocket this time and gets his team's first strike and their third mark of the match. That was just as good. Leaves just the 10 pin.
Another mark, and Dan could take the lead. There it is. Spare on strike, 109 plus a ball. So the team of Brodeur and Fish, in spite of having a couple of 5 boxes in this first game, may very well have the lead. Not by much, though. A 4 fill, it's a 113 and a 2-pin advantage for Fish and Brodeur after 1. Lots more to come here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Oh, we've got an enthusiastic bunch here today.
Oh, we do.
Mike Fish ready to go. Game 2. On the head pin, a little thin though.
2, 4, 7, 8, and 10. Let's see if the wood's going to give him any help.
Would you maybe play off this wood?
If it came over a little more, I might give it a chance. Carry the ball into the 4 pins, but then you have 2 pieces of wood that possibly could come off the wall.
No, Mike went after it straight, almost converted it. Nice attempt.
And it'll be a 9. Mike's still looking for his first mark, right? Yes.
That's correct. He's had some chances and a couple of near misses, and he's got another opportunity here. The 1, 2, and 7.
It's a tough format where you have to bowl 2 boxes, then you wait 6 before you get back up there. And missing the head pin this time.
For the 10, yes. 19 opening pair for Mike Fish, his team in the lead by a deuce. Bob Johnson. Pretty good looking hit, but not much to shoot at here.
6, 7, 10. Doesn't sound too bad.
Try and fly that wood over, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Either end, I might have probably tried to go right at the 10 pin. And either end, anyways, get the wood moving, make it 10. And now it's a 1 pin advantage for Fish and Brodeur.
Oh, nice break there for Bob as he kicked out the 4 pin. Came up a little full on the hit, but he'll have a spare leave on the 3, 6, and 10. Watch out. That's what he wanted. It'll go for the 10.
Right through the middle.
Nice work for the 10 box. Next week, our semifinals. Next Saturday at noon here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. Again, those of you who are here now with us obviously have discovered that we're here Saturdays at noon. Please tell your friends. Lots of people still calling in and saying, what happened to the Stars and Strikes Doubles show?
Good effort there, Dan, but he still has looking at the 4-7, 6-10. And they'll be open the first 4 of this second game.
Easy to remember where to find us now here on the Wins. Stars and Strikes Doubles Saturday at noon, and then our regular singles competition Sunday at noon. So all you have to remember is noon, Saturday and Sunday. Tom Farrell will shoot at the 4-7 left, 6-10 right.
And there goes the help he was hoping would stick around. Piece of wood into the channel next to the 4 and 7. Neither team seems to want to take charge just early in the match.
Oh boy. Well, both teams have had trouble with low boxes. The match is still very close. There's a big hit. Wow. Boy, that's the best ball that anybody's thrown all day. That was a beautiful pocket hit for Tom Farrell. That will take us into the break. Big strike in the 4th, kicking out that 8-pin. Just about halfway through here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, and this match is just about dead even. We'll be back. Mike Fish charging up to the approach. He's ready. And in the pocket.
This time the 2, 4, 5, and 7 pins. Cluster 4 in the left-hand corner.
No. And the 9 for Mike.
46, halfway through the second game.
4 marks already for the team of Fish and Brodeur, but they were all in game 1. 4 marks for Farrell and Johnston. 2 of them have been strikes.
Six open frames now. Chance for Farrell and Johnston to climb back into the match and actually take the lead, working on the strike.
Nice 10 there by Mike Fish.
Absolutely was. Slides the wood over to the left, takes out the 8.
Worked hard for that 10 box. Bob Johnston now filling the strike. Left by his partner.
Oh.
Falling the other way, and might have been a double.
You're right. 6-9 now, though, for a spare on strike. They have the lead now, off the wood.
Spare on strike.
He's turned around to me and said, whoops. Obviously, he wasn't playing the wood, but
looks like a line drive in the scorecard.
That's right.
Just a 3 fill on the spare, though.
And now he's got to scramble to make that spare count. And it's going to be like 2 10 boxes, just 20 in those 2 frames. But they did take the lead by 8 now. Last week's match went down to the last ball. I think we got the makings the same thing happening this week.
I'm just stunned that we're almost 2 games into this match, and you've been very good, Dan. You've allowed me not to mention where Dan does most of his bowling, and you haven't jumped in yet. I'm very impressed.
I'm waiting until he gets a few marks. I'm surprised. I missed that in the end of that first game with strike and spare. I should have jumped right in then.
$10 for Dan, who does most of his bowling at Boutwell's Bowling Center in Concord.
He also lives in a great place now, too. Bo.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Spare leave on the 5-9. Good pocket hit for Dan, but
5 and 9. No wood to help. Clear shot at the 2 pins. Ooh,
nope.
Sliding by the 5. It's one of these games you really got to keep pinning. The lead is, or the deficit in his case, is only in single numbers.
2 more 10 boxes. And Tom Farrell comes up with a chance to add to the lead. Right in the pocket. Look out. How did it stay up? It didn't.
Had to hit it about 3 times. That stubborn 8-pin. There's the replay right in the pocket. There goes the 5 into the piece of wood, and finally the 8-pin went down. Now he's got the diamond, 2, 4, 5, and 8.
For the spare, no.
No spare, but a big 9 fill on the strike. That'll push the lead into double figures. 2 boxes remaining in this second game.
The 10 for Tom. And that lead now 17, as you see. Final 2, game 2 for Mike Fish, who's still looking for his first mark. He'll shoot here at the 4 Horsemen.
Over the years, this developed into a pretty tough spare. Always seem to leave the corner pins. Go this long without getting a mark, it's you putting a lot more pressure on yourself to finally put one on the scoreboard, and you start pressing a little bit.
7 for Mike. And now he'll step around for the 10th. The winners come back next week to face Gene Gates and John Potorsky. Nice ball that time. Good comeback for Mike Fish.
There's his first mark, and it's a big one. A strike in the 10th. Looks the 5 and 10 go down simultaneously there. Strike 93 plus 2 balls in the 10th.
Well, let's see on the mix here. Let's see.
Mike tried to get it to fall to the left. Everything but the 9-pin.
Well, Mike's got to be feeling a little bit better now after those last 2 throws. For the spare, on strike in the 10th, 103 for the team, and a 2-game total of 216. Bob Johnson with an extra pin or 2. He'll shoot at the 1, 8, and 10 with wood.
Bob Johnson and his partner Tom Farrell will have the lead, just depending on how many it's going to be, whether or not they can get another mark or 2 in the 9th and 10th.
Bob let that one get away. And he covers it for the 10. But now opposite that 20 box in the 10th. Oh, big first ball for Bob Johnston on the recovery.
Rocking 8-pin. Once the one that's rolling now, so you just soon have it roll right off into the pit area. But he's got a nice spare leave now with the 8-pin. cover that with any problem.
115 plus a ball. Important fill ball here. Oh, tough break right through the middle, just 4. 119 is the total, and the 2-game tally is 230. So there you see the difference. A 14-pin lead for Farrell and Johnston with 1 game to go, and we will have that 1 game after we have these words. Well, we have 1 game to go, and for the 2nd week in a row, a very, very tight match.
Just 14 pins, a couple marks away.
Could be, let's see. No, the 6-pin will stick around for Tom Farrell.
Last week they changed rotations. Bob started off. This week they're going to stay with Tom. Last week it made a difference. This week he puts a spare up. Strategy seems to work for this team.
Tom now on the spare, on the head pin again, looking for the extra carry and gets it.
Hit that 7-pin a couple times before it went over, but a big 9 fill and a strike. Trying for 2 in a row.
Ooh. Oh no. There it is for the 10. Not what he had in mind, though.
No, not at all.
Dan Brodeur leading off for his team. I'd like to have this shot. The 2, 7, and 8. It may get better if the wood moves over.
Yeah, he'd want the wood there or in between would be. No.
Well, it's still moving.
And his first objective is to grab the 2-pin. He's going to need some sidewall action. Maybe that would. Oh boy. I know what Dan's thinking. I waited all the time for that. Just pulled that ball to the left. And it probably wasn't there, but we'll never know. 9 box now. Adds another 10 pins to their lead. Now 24 for Farrell and Johnston.
Through the middle. Dan will have another brain teaser here. 3, 4, 7, and 10.
Pin closest to you. We got to go after the 3-pin. Slid by.
$8. Oh, that puts the lead now up to 26 for the team of Farrell and Johnston. It's the biggest lead they've had in their 2 weeks. Bob Johnston on lane 30.
You don't want to sit on the lead, though. You got to keep putting the offense up.
Oh, how about it one time? Not on the 10-pin. Well, last week, Tom and Bob undoubtedly felt very fortunate to get away with a 331 and win. They knew it would probably take more this week, and they appear headed for a higher score. Bob a little off target on that one. He's going to have the 4 horsemen again, this time with the 7-pin instead of the 8. Everything but the head pin.
All of a sudden they have 2 opens. 2 marks here. We could close it right back up again.
That'll be a 9. So an opportunity here for Mike Fish. Remember the last time Mike came up, he threw strike spare. Of course, he's got a bit of a weight, which, as we've said many times, is probably the toughest part about this format is rolling 2 frames and then having to sit a while. And, of course, Mike had to sit through the commercial break and watch all 3 of the other bowlers go up there.
Oh,
and
great try there.
Almost.
Left the 8-pin.
And the 9. Well, could really use a mark right here. The lead is 27 for Farrell and Johnston, and with just 6 boxes left in the match after this one, Mike could really use a mark.
Well, it's going to be a good one. The 2, 4, and 10.
The wood I don't think is going to be, well, let's see now on the wood.
Ooh, not enough to knock the 10-pin down. Still got to just think of it as 2 pins, and hopefully you'll split the 2 and the 4, have some sidewall action. Almost.
Didn't get there.
Well, you can gain 1 in count, drop it down to 26, and try to regroup after the break.
There it is. We will take a timeout. We've got 6 boxes remaining. Farrell and Johnston in the lead, trying to make it 2 in a row. We'll be back. Welcome back to Stars and Strikes Doubles. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy and Tom Farrell at the line. Well, look at this.
Still happening for him. 1 in the 10. Still 1 in the 10. And they'll be open in the 5th.
Don't forget, tomorrow at noon here on the Winds, week 2 of our singles series, Dennis Shute against Peter Flynn. Next weekend, of course, is semi-final weekend, Saturday and Sunday at noon here on Stars and Strikes.
Both teams having to shoot at some real rough spare leaves.
Well, it's going to be 2 more open frames.
I have to chuckle. We were talking about terminology in the league the other night, and it seemed like my whole team, whoever was up there bowling, it was always nice try, no luck, just missed. Someone was turning around and say, you know, you could tell just by listening to us, we're not having a very good night.
Dan Brodeur opposite 2 open frames with a chance to cut into this lead.
It's a little late delivering that ball, a little bit behind himself, left it to the right.
Better that time, but not good enough for the spare. And the 8. So 5 boxes left now, the lead 27.
Still about a 3-mark lead for the team of Farrell and Johnston. And will he get a break? Well, somewhat. 6-pin went down. 2 pieces of wood now. One next to the 3-pin, another one in front of the 4-7. Could go by sweeping the wood from right to left.
There it is, nicely done. And that could be a big mark. We'll have to wait and see. Not much room for error on that shot.
No, not at all. Very nicely done by Dan Brodeur. Final 2 frames for Bob Johnston. 1, 2, 10.
8 marks for the team of Farrell and Johnston, 7 for Fish and Brodeur.
So they started with a spare, and they've been shut out ever since this 3rd game.
9 box. Well, Farrell and Johnston had to wait until the final ball was thrown last week to know that they had won for sure. They don't put a mark or 2 up here in the final boxes. The same thing may happen this week.
Well, last weekend this week, scores aren't extremely high. but the matches certainly are exciting. It's very, very close. There's an 8-box, only 17 in those 2 frames. Mike Fish, final 2 frames, and probably the biggest ball of the match right now, working on the spare.
Mike grazes the head pin, gets a little mix, and takes 7 on the mark.
And probably wants the 3-pin to stay up. There's a wood right behind the 3-pin, so, and it looks like it's shading to the right. That pin will probably fly towards the 7.
Will it go?
Ooh, the ball flew in front of it. Well, you can gain another in count.
He gets it. The lead is now 18. Of course, can gain 2 even with a 10-box, but a mark would make it very interesting.
Mark is what he wants. That's a good-looking ball. That's a mark.
What a time for a strike for Mike Fish. Brooklyn hit, carrying the 7-pin, and this could get right down to the last ball as well.
Tom Farrell is going to have the 2-4 to shoot at, but a nasty piece of wood out in front, especially with the type of ball he throws. This ball breaks from right to left. He's got to make up his mind, either take the wood high or try to get by it.
Let's see.
Oh, there you go. Well, every pin's important now. Every pin he knocks down, that's one more that Dan Brodeur is going to have to pick up at the other end.
Each team now with 5 spares and 3 strikes. Last box now for Tom Farrell. He could really put the pressure on Dan Brodeur with a mark here. He'll shoot at the 9 and the 10 with all kinds of wood in front. That piece may roll off. Let's see.
He may ruin his shot. Well, he can fit the ball on the piece of wood and the 8-pin.
Oh, great shot. Great shot. They had not had a mark since the first box of this 3rd and final game, and that was a big one right there, provided Tom can put something on it.
Well, regardless of what he does, Dan Brodeur will still be able to win this match if he marks out. It's just 4, let's see.
4 it is. 106 and a 336. Just 5 pins better than they had last week.
A 120 ties, a 121 wins.
So it boils down basically to this fill on the strike before we can really tell what Dan will need.
Oh boy. Well. Oh, it turned a little too much on him. The 5 and 7. I don't know if he can. He's going to have to try to cap that wood. Well, he did, right behind the 5.
Well, Dan is going to need a mark in the 10th.
This is an important pin right here.
100. That cuts the lead to 6.
By getting that pin, prevents him from having to get a double strike.
This is the exact same situation we were in last week. Dan Brodeur must have
20
pins to tie. And there's a strike! Oh, my! John Maffield last week got the spare first and had to throw a strike on it. Wasn't able to do it. Now, if Dan Brodeur can spare on this strike, we will go to overtime.
He throws, of course, if he throws another strike, we'll just about lock it up.
Let's see. Oh, boy.
And it's not going to be an easy one. He needs all of these to tie.
And he may lose that piece of wood, too. He will.
Well, just got to think of it as 3 pins and even 2 pins, the 3-6. No.
Didn't make it. Another terrific finish, though, here on Stars and Strikes doubles. Tom Farrell and Bob Johnson escape again. They must be getting pretty used to this. They just sit down and watch what happens. Last week they won by 5. This week by just 3. Tom Farrell and Bob Johnston have won 2 in a row. We'll be back to talk to all the bowlers and set you up for tomorrow's singles match as well. Don't go away. All right, we are back at the Londonderry Bowling Center, week 2 of this series, even closer than week 1, and another win for Tom Farrell and Bob Johnson. But before we talk to them, let's bring up Dan Brodeur and Mike Fish. Come on up, guys. Another tough finish. It'll be fourth place prize money, $200 for these guys to share. And boy, you were paying close attention to last week's match. You got yourself in the same spot.
I got myself in a lot of trouble, and Mike in more trouble. That's what it boiled down to.
It was just a match where both teams really were struggling for pins a little bit.
This was a tough day. Just didn't have it. They had it a little bit better than us.
Well, Mike, good to see you here for the first time. Hope the second one is not too far down the line. Congratulations, and as always, good to see you, Dan. We'll see you again soon.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks very much. All right, well, let's bring those guys up here right now. 2 wins in a row, Tom Farrell and Bob Johnston. And you're making it interesting, guys. I'll say that. Not going to try and win these things too easily, are you?
No, I think we're bowling for the ratings more or less. Keeping it close.
It's this brings up an interesting point too, because you guys have been obviously the lower seed, so you have to just post a score and just watch. That's got to be tough to just sit there.
Comes into the last box. You just hope you don't get too hot in the last box, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you were used to it though for this match because same situation. You know, they needed 20 pins to tie.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't think 3:30 is going to make it too many more matches. I think
well,
we're going to
you
start
said that last week, and now you've done it twice in a row. Now we have Gene Gates and John Patorsky coming in next week. We'll see you then.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, you'll be going for 3 in a row. Congratulations. This round of applause for you. And here's what's coming up next week. As we move to the semifinals, it will be our number 5 seeded team, Tom Farrell and Bob Johnston, with these 2 close wins, a 5-pin win and now a 3-pin win. And they will take on our number 2 seeded team, Gene Gates and John Patorsky.
Well, I think Tommy was right. One of these weeks, somebody's going to put a score up there, and they got to be ready. But they do enough to win.
All right, don't forget, tomorrow at noon, it'll be week 2 in singles. Dennis Shute tries for his 2nd win in a row. Tough customer, though, against him, Peter Flynn. And then next weekend, of course, right back here, Saturday at noon, semifinal weekend in doubles and in singles as well. So until tomorrow, when we catch you from Park Place Lanes, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good weekend, everybody.